Alright guys, welcome back to another Unreal Engine 5 tutorial, and today we are going to be talking about setting up landscape layer blends. I decided to save this video for future or for farther in the tutorial series because uh, it's a little bit more complex than what we did in our level design, and I feel like now that you guys have had some experience with blueprints, this will really help out a lot. So let's go ahead and get started here. As you can see, I've created a nice little default map here in the third person game template just to get us going here. First thing I'm going to do is go to landscape here, and I'm just going to go ahead and create some landscape for us to work with. And I'm not going to fill in a material. I'm just going to click create. Boom, and now here's some landscape. If you'd like to learn more about how to sculpt landscape and how to manipulate it to make it look like a real scene, I have an entire video on that. So just check out the tutorial series. It should all be there for you. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and create probably like a little bit of a mountainous terrain here. Tool strength probably a little bit too high. Smoothing this out a little bit. Flatten it out just a little bit. And there we go, we have some nice little peaks and valleys. And then I'm just going to do some erosion from rain here on top of the mountains, give it a nice realistic look. And then some erosion from sand here, more on the bottom of the mountains. We'll kind of create some general roughness here around this. And we'll just be painting this region here today. Cool. All right, and as you can see, I have some just nice general landscape here. And let's go ahead and get started here on how to paint the landscape without using anything from the store. So you guys should all have Quixel Bridge built into your editor here. If you're in Unreal Engine 5, you definitely do. And go ahead and sign into Quixel Bridge. I already have. And the first thing I'm going to do here is select the materials I would like to use. So I'm going to go ahead and come through. Let's grab some dirt. See what comes up for dirt. So I'm going to go ahead and go with a canyon. Let's do a canyon today. And you can pick whatever quality you want. I'll just do medium quality for right now. This is still having me sign in. Boom. All right, so I'm going to get the canyon dirt, and I'm just going to go ahead and click add, download, and add it. And there we go, it's been added. And let's go ahead and see here. Let's also do the arid gravel ground. Add this, and let's do one more. Let's do something on a mountain. Let's do this rocky ground. Cool. All right, there we go. So now we have these three things. So what we're going to go ahead and do now is we're going to go ahead and open this up right here. And we are going to go ahead. I like to generally create a new folder called materials. So materials. Boom. And I have this nice brand new thing called materials right there. And I'm now going to go ahead and right click here. And I'm going to create a new landscape. And now whenever I create this, I generally call it m_landscape. You can call it whatever you want, but I generally like to prefix stuff with that m_landscape. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and click enter. Boom, and I'm going to go ahead and get these nodes here. Okay, now we have looked at materials before, and we've discussed a little bit about how to use those materials, but this case we're going to be using something and doing something completely different here. We're going to come here and we're going to go ahead and come to this box here and check use material attribute. This is what is going to allow us to create this as like a landscape material and not a traditional material that you would use. You can also come here and work with the blending styles as well, but you don't have to worry about that too much. The main thing is just use material attribute has to be checked here. Okay, next thing you're going to do is do a layer blend. So this is what's going to allow us to create our layers, and we're going to create them right here in a second. But I'm going to go ahead and connect these two nodes right here. Now, right now it's upset because I don't have any layers here, so it's confused. But we're going to handle that here in a second. Okay, so after you go ahead and you create your layers, what you're then going to do is you're going to add them right here. And as you see here in Quixelbridge, if I come over here to my Megascans, remember anything from Quixelbridge always goes to the Megascans folder. And here are my Megascans. I have a arid gravel ground, a canyon dry mud, and then a rocky ground. Okay, so first things first here, I'm going to go ahead and name this. Let's call the first one arid underscore dry underscore ground. Boom. Okay, and then the next one I'm going to go ahead and call canyon mud. C-A-Y, I forgot how to spell canyon, C-A-N-Y-O-N, C-A-N-Y-O-N underscore mud. Boom. Okay, and then the rocky ground is right here, so I have rocky ground as the last one. Oh, what happened? Canyon underscore mud. Boom. Okay, and then the last one here is going to be my rocky ground, so I'm going to go ahead and rocky underscore ground. Oops. Boom. Okay, all right, now I have my 3 layers and they are right here. So let's go ahead now and grab these textures in. Boom, 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 and just drag them in just like so. So here's going to be my first little package of stuff to use. And then let's see here. Let's get our second package right here underneath the canyon dry mud. Boom. And let's get our last little thing here. Okay. All right, now generally speaking, I like to organize these just like so. That allows me to kind of see which one's going to which and to allow me to get these. Now what you're gonna do is you need to make these into a material that you can use. So in order to do that, you're gonna come here, you're gonna type in make material attribute. This node here looks very similar to this unchecked. I'm going to go ahead and uncheck this. These are essentially the same here. This allows you, doesn't really have like a blending style like this one. Like this one will change based on your blending mode. We don't have to talk about that right now. That's more of an advanced topic, but essentially this is going to be pretty much the same like idea. And when I check this to do this, I can then drag these specific nodes here in just like so. And that's going to allow me to then essentially create and assign these layers here in a second. So I'm going to go ahead and duplicate these. Boom. And then I'm going to come here. And boom. Alright, cool. Check something. Alright, so now what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and connect these nodes. So this right here is going to be all the red, all the green, and all the blue, right? So if I go ahead and double click on this, you can actually see the red, green, and blue channels of each of these individual textures, and that's going to be really important right here in a second. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, if this opens, should open. There we go. So right here, you can actually modify some of these textures here if you wanted a like increase brightness or a little bit more vibrance, which is going to be a little bit more color. You can also get some saturation as well, which is going to make it more colorful. And I'll just go ahead and edit up some of these just a little bit here to kind of show you what I'm talking about. Now, every single color in most game engines or online is always made up of a combination of the red, the green, and the blue in the channel. So this is your red, this is your green, this is your blue, as you can see right here. And then together it all creates this. And that's a very important concept. We're going to talk about that here in a second. Okay. Now, in a traditional way, you're just going to go ahead and drag this in here. I know this because this is my D here. This is going to be the diffuse, which is going to be that. Then as you can see here, you have N, which is your normal. Your normal is going to go right here into your normal graph. And now this one here is an interesting one. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and double click on this right here. And as you can see, this texture actually doesn't do anything in the red, green, and blue channel all by itself. For this one mainly, you're mainly going to be using the red and the green channel. I'm going to show you why. Essentially, they took multiple different maps here, and they combined them by using the colors here. Okay, So if I go ahead and click on the red channel here, I'm gonna get the opacity, which is like the transparency of the material, right? If I go ahead and click on the green here, I'm gonna get the roughness, which is like the shininess of the material. And then the blue channel here is gonna be like a little bit like the detail work. So if you wanted to store like additional information or have like a detail map, that's gonna be this blue panel here. And if you combine all of them together, you get this mess, which you wouldn't actually really use. So if I come here now, I can actually drag this red here into the opacity. Green's going to go to roughness, and then this one does not have a details panel, as you can see, so we're just going to leave that blue blank, but you could use that in a different context. Okay, and then these are going to connect the exact same way. So I'm going to come here, boom, this is going to be our normal, and the red is going to be our opacity, green is going to be our roughness mapping. And I can tell that this is the same here because if I click here, I see ORD. This stands for opacity, roughness, and then details. Okay, all right, as you can come here, boom, got our normal, boom, and then again our O for opacity, our R for roughness, boom, okay. And this essentially right here, if you just wanted to set up this and just get it going here, this can practically be essentially your basic setup. We're gonna talk about tiling after this in a second here, but right here, if you were just looking for what the material graph is in its most basic form, this is it. Essentially you have the textures, make material instance, layer blend, going to this, just make sure this material instance is checked. So we're gonna go ahead and paint with this, and then we're gonna go ahead and look at a different example here in a second to make this a little bit more advanced. All right, so to go ahead and paint with this, all you're gonna do is you're just gonna come here to the landscape layer. This should be in my materials folder here, so I'm just gonna drag this in, just like so. And now for my painting video, essentially everything from that video is going to be the same here. I'm just gonna come here, I click plus, go ahead and save, click plus, go ahead and save, click plus, and go ahead and save. And as you can see here, I can go ahead and start painting. Now there are some issues with this, we'll talk about that in a second, but as you can see here, I can come between these and create some mud here, kind of on the outside of the mountain here. Boom, and then create some rocky heights up here on the top to kind of get that rocky ground look. Let's see if that's getting what I wanted. That's actually not too bad of a blend. I might make that darker, but there you guys have it. So this is pretty much the basics of how you can start painting and creating your own landscapes here. And as you can see, the quality wasn't too bad. Now let's go ahead and start talking about some of the more advanced concepts here, because this is all great for getting started, but as you can even see here, the tiling for this is very repetitive. So if I come out of here and I look here, notice notice how like the same indentation here is going to repeat constantly, right? That's because the tiling, because all of these are just tiles, right, is constantly repeated. And you can see that the tiling isn't too good here. So that's why, you know, it's good to get started with what I just showed you, but this is definitely not where you want to finish. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and save my project. Let's go ahead and look at a way to make this better now. All right, so I'm gonna go back into here and we're gonna go ahead and start editing it. And as I said, the tiling was off. So I can actually come here and type in landscape coordinate, and it's here. And I'm gonna go ahead and grab 3 of these, one for each of my layers. Okay, all right, now what I'm gonna go ahead and do is grab a constant by holding 1 and clicking. That's gonna allow me to get a constant value. And then I'm gonna hold M and click to get multiply. Now what I can do is I can drag this in here, 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 drag this in here. Okay? All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and take that multiply node and drag it into each of these UVs, just like so. And now I have more control over the tiling. But if I want to customize the tiling in real time, again, I need to change this material into a material instance. If you don't know what that is, go watch my video on it. I made an entire video on it. But now I'm gonna go ahead and start converting these to parameters by doing that. And I'm gonna call this tiling arid ground. So arid ground, arid underscore ground tiling. enter. And for right now, I'm going to put this at like 0.5. See if that can get me a good value here. And then this one's going to be the canyon mud tiling. So I'm going to come here, convert to parameter. This is going to be canyon underscore mud tiling. Boom. Okay. And then last one here is going to be the rocky ground. Okay, so I'm going to call this rocky underscore ground tiling. Boom. And that's going to allow me to get the rocky tiling here. Now, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and make this 0.5 kind of as the default value here. I always think that's a good default. Boom. And there we go. That one's also good. Okay. Now, this isn't the only thing that you can do. You can also come here and darken some of these values as well, which actually I don't think is a bad idea. So to darken them, I'm going to go ahead and hold 3 to click here to get this. And I'm going to hold M to multiply yet again. And I'm going to go ahead and combine these nodes just like this. I'm going to take this and then this texture sample here. Boom. And then I'm going to go ahead and put this in the base color. And I'm going to go ahead and name this tint. So I'm going to convert this to parameter. I'm going to call this tint. And I started with the second one. So tint underscore canyon mud. Boom. Right, so now I'll have a tint for this, right? And for right now, let's see here how I want to do this. This will make it all dark. We'll probably put this kind of like right in the center, so there isn't too much of a tint to start it off. Go ahead and just do that. Okay. All right, and same thing here. I'm going to go ahead and create a multiply node. Boom. And I'm going to go ahead and hold 3 to get a color. Boom. And this is going to be our arid ground tint. Boom. Go ahead and right click here, convert to parameter, arid underscore ground tint. Maybe I should have named this tint underscore arid ground. Whatever. You guys can name things whatever you want. That probably wasn't the best naming for that. Okay. And so on and so forth, guys. You kind of get the drill now. I'm going to hold M to multiply, hold 3 to get this, and go ahead and come here, boom, come here, boom, and this will be my rocky ground tint, or my tint rocky ground. I'm going to go ahead and convert to parameter, and we're going to call this tint underscore rocky ground. Boom. Okay. Now this one's going to be a little bit more grayish, so I'm going to go ahead and just give me a nice little gray value here. Boom, should match well with that. This is a little bit more brownish, so let's go ahead and do kind of like a brown color here. Boom. And then this one's more of a darker brown, so I'm going to go ahead and come here and get more of that dark brown. Looks like orangish. Sure. Okay, so that way the tint isn't affecting it too much, and the tint actually will be helpful here because we can then use that tint to obviously change some stuff up. Okay, all right, so now what I can do is I can come here and I can go ahead and create a material instance. I'm going to call this now mi underscore landscape. Boom. And now I'm going to go ahead and come here. We're going to go ahead and clear this. Hopefully it doesn't crash the editor. Fingers crossed. Boom. And then now I can come here and drag this in just like so. And as you can see, nothing's changed, which is fine. But now I can open this material instance here, and I'm going to go ahead and bring it here and start messing around with some of these values. So first off, I'm going to come here and I'm going to check the tiling. It's still repeating pattern. It's very obvious that that's a repeating pattern for the canyon mud, so I'm going to change this to 0.1. That's a lot better looking. I think so. Maybe even a little bit lower here, like 0.07. Yeah, I kind of like that a lot. That's pretty good. And then same thing here, so that was probably a good value, 0.07. Let's try that out. Yeah, so much better. Looks so much better, a lot more realistic now. The blend here looks a little bit better. I may tint this a darker color. And then up here to the rocky ground here again, gonna change this to 0.07. And that's a lot more rocky looking. I'm actually gonna make this even more of a shard. So like sharded, kind of like that. Yeah, that looks a lot more realistic, guys. Okay, and then as you can see here, I probably want to tint this ground here. Oh, did I not get the third guy for the tinting? Let me see. Did I not convert to a parameter? I may have forgotten to convert to a parameter. That's okay. All right, but I'm gonna go ahead and make this darker to kind of get it to blend just a little bit. You see now the blending is a lot cleaner between these two textures here. And I may also make the arid ground just a hint darker as well. There we go. Get a nice little tint here. And then go ahead and save this. Let me double check my landscape material here. Did I not convert this to a parameter? Tint rocky ground. Thought I did. Okay. Save. Boom. Tint candy mud. Tint this. Boom. Okay. Double click here. Huh, coming up. That's okay. But anyways, I think you guys understand the point here. And again, this is how you can create a lot more realistic and cool looking landscapes. Now, obviously you can go crazy here with the parameters and kind of go all wild. We didn't even touch the roughness or anything like this. Obviously you guys can have a lot of fun with that. This was more of just a general tutorial, kind of to get you guys going and get you guys into kind of how all of this works. So, if this video helped you out in any way, let me know by leaving us a like or a comment. And I'm always dropping content, so please subscribe to the channel. And as always, I'll see you all in the next one.